Hello and welcome to Fin Business. We are in midst of another very interesting conversation, taking the decision makers in the financial services sector to the level next. And this is the Infrastructure Next series which we are hosting in Fin Business. I am happy to introduce you to two very interesting guests here at the studio of Fin Business. One is Dr. Rajendran and the other is Gaurish from Nutanix. Welcome Dr. Rajendran, welcome Gaurish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we have been reading a whole lot of digital transformation that is happening in the financial services sector, and you are all both an integral part of it. On one side, you are running the nation's largest payments infrastructure or the only payment infrastructure in the country, and you have been supplying the industry with some of the future technologies and some very forward looking infrastructure facilities including hyperconvergence and multi-cloud strategies. So, let us try to understand from both of you some interesting perspectives for the infrastructure leaders of tomorrow. As a legacy organizations, the financial services organization have a lot of issues with their existing legacy infrastructure. So, what are the major pain areas that people face, especially in this time of digital revolution or digital transformation with their legacy infrastructure?
My view about this legacy issues are the digital is growing in the exponential way and adoption is taking a faster. We wanted to do the faster adoption, then the capacity need to be increased. And the vertical scalable systems are limited for the increasing the capacity. There is a lot of limitation to increase in online or to upgrade need to have some downtime. Some systems will have the online, but some systems will have issues. That is one portion about the capacity. One is the biggest concerns, and the second the concern is the compliance issues. Lot of cyber attacks, the threats are every day it is increasing, and the every system in the financial industry need to have lot of the softwares like a DLP, like the malware protections, then to the hardening the OS, and these are the challenges it is in the current industry, and this will stop quick. This will not enable the industry to quickly go to market because it takes all time consumption and everything, and it is a pain jobs. That's why they look for the solution which are able to the fastly roll out the systems and to protect their environment.
Great. So, that you have identified some of these issues. So, how do you think that the organizations can simplify? There are multiple things within this infrastructure. So, how do you think organizations can actually simplify these complexities in the infrastructure?
If you really look at the legacy architecture, what we call the 3-tier architecture, you used to have the servers, the SAN, the storage, virtualization, network running on top of it, and overall the complexity. This architecture has really not changed in the last 20 years, and this has led to complexities, creation of silos within the data center. So think of a typical bank, they change the servers, they have to migrate, they change the storage, they have to migrate. You want to replace a SAN, there's a migration involved, there's a hypervisor replacement, there's a migration involved. Now, how are the cloud companies, the large cloud companies operating? A lot of the architecture is actually plug and play. Can we allow customers in the enterprise to run in a way the large cloud companies run, which is basically a plug and play architecture, simplify the infrastructure to the extent that it is consumer grade. If you really look at the overall the trends, the enterprise market at some point of time mimics the consumer space. So think of a smartphone revolution which took place probably 10 years earlier, and there was a time when you would have a smartphone or you would have a feature phone, you would have a calculator, you would have a GPS device, 4 or 5 different hardwares you would have to actually carry in your pocket, a calculator. Today, all of these are actually bundled as a software inside a smartphone. Actually, to the extent that you don't actually call it a smartphone any longer.
Correct.
can we simplify the enterprise data center architecture, right? And everything that is today a hardware, whether it's a storage, whether it's even a software defined network which probably needs hardware to run, a different console to manage, virtualization, cloud orchestration that we spoke about, can we manage it from a single pane of glass, make things simple for the customer to manage so that they actually concentrate on running their business applications and spend less time managing their infrastructure in the data center. So the newer technologies like hyperconverged are actually enabling customers to take that first step. It's the foundation to actually building your enterprise cloud and creating the same experience or a similar experience of a public cloud inside your private cloud. And that's where we believe the industry is headed.
Hyperconvergence seems to be one of the interesting solutions for the organizations to get in. How pragmatic is this approach? Globally, banks have been adopting this technology. Now, one is how effective it has been to organizations is one thing to learn about. The other thing is, what are the challenges that organizations have been facing? See, once you are into this legacy infrastructure system and now you are planning to transform into this hyperconvergence, okay, in this shift, what kind of challenges can organizations face and how great or how useful has been this as a solution to the organization? These are two things that come to the mind.
See, when you wanted to migrate from legacy to a new technology or new environment, and over the period of time, we say banking and financial sector, the software is an asset, and this asset has been used for so many years, and it was built for certain kind of an environment. So that need to be either rewritten or need to transform into the new environment, and that can fit into the new kind of the infrastructures. Okay. And if you are not able to do that one, really you will not enjoy the cloud and the whatever the advantages or benefits we are going to get it from the new age of the infrastructure, whether private or public cloud, you will not able to achieve it.
And how about this containerization and all? Does this help in somewhere in this entire activity?
Yeah, if you say the containerization, without a containerization, you will not able to optimize the resources. Say over the period of time, industry has moved from a standalone instance to virtual instance, that is using the hypervisors, and does not mean the thing virtual instance will give you the entire private cloud or the containerization micro segmentation benefit. If you want to get a scale in, scale out kind of the features.
Interesting. Any perspectives from your side?
Absolutely. I think Dr. Rajandan makes a very interesting point. I'll just, if you really see the resilience, I think if I may say put it in perspective, the resiliency now needs to be built into software, not the hardware. The earlier infrastructure, the data center resiliency was built into hardware. Now it has to be fail safe. Your software has to fail safe. I mean, hardware could fail, but the application cannot. The application needs to scale, auto scale, for example, depending on the workloads. So I think as long as we build resiliency into the software layer, I think we are good for it, good to go with the cloud. And I think that is what cloud allows us to do, whether it's a public or the private or the hybrid that we speak about.
Actually, I just wanted to add what Gauri said about the data center failure. See, really, if you are running, even if it's a private cloud or the public cloud or a hyper cloud, and if you have all the data center clouds are integrated and movable each others, even if the data center goes down, the service will be made available immediately in the other data center. Nothing will be. Yes, maybe if it depends upon application, then maybe a minute or two might be there, because all application may be made up, because already it sends that thing that is not available, then it can come up. So that kind of automation is possible in the cloud environment.
So the uptime is considerably
service
better.
Availability, yes.
The simplicity with the simplicity of achieving this is unprecedented today, right? I mean, these are really one-click features right now.
Interesting.
right? What we call the one-click features, and you want to upgrade your code, you do it in a click, so on and so forth, right? Continuous innovation, continuous deployment is the norm.
Plug and play.
Plug and play, and software defined everything actually allows you to do that. And not only that, Babu, a software defined everything architecture allows you to have more features and functionalities far faster compared to an earlier architecture which was actually hardware driven.
So we have learnt a whole lot about the advantages of hyperconvergence and coming from the existing legacy infrastructure to the hyperconvergence infrastructure. Now just playing a devil's advocate and trying to understand which are all the areas where we can probably go wrong, or what are the mitigation strategies a CIO should look into when he is moving into hyperconvergence.
See, in the standalone environment, you have the tape backup, you have the so many backup kind of things and arrangement, and first you apply the primary site or DR site, then come to primary site, or HA site you come to, like that. So this is the sequence which reduces the change impact across the enterprise wide. First they control the one system, then if you seeing the performance, then they enable it. But in the cloud environment, it is complete automations. And if you stay one place, if you say make a mistake, that can cascading impact to entire organization. Sometimes the data also may get corrupted, or system may get corrupted because of any changes you say, which you apply in one place, it can be done. So that's why the operations of the systems need to be meticulously followed, how to apply change. This is very important in the cloud environment. You should have a strategy to mitigations, whether it is you have the image of the system by n-1 or n-2, and that then you will start the applying the changes, and if something goes wrong only, then you can just roll back to the previous version kind of thing. So the very important, the discipline if not maintained, cloud will become a problem to the enterprise.
Any other suggestions or thoughts from your side?
Of course, you need to, whenever you're replatforming, you need to actually see how does the new technology fit into your security portfolio, compliance, regulatory compliance if any, backups, as Dr. Sir said. These are some of the things which I always advise customers to double check. Okay, most of the times 99%, we've had 100% success rate of integrating into the security compliance backup architecture of our customers. Another thing which I always advise customers is to look at the skill sets. With convergence and with cloud, the skill sets are converging. Earlier people had different teams to manage. You had a storage team, you had a database administrator team, you had a network team, so on and so forth. Now with hyperconvergence and with private clouds and hybrid customers adopting hybrid clouds, I think skill set is one issue which I always advise customers to really focus on. Training their people is so very important. With cloud and integration of various teams, the command and control structure at a customer site changes.
So one thing is very clear, it is not just necessarily to have Intel inside, but you also need to have intelligent outside to run it.
Yeah, correct. You can run with the anybody, but the only thing is you need to follow the discipline in, and correct. SOPs need to be there. Any change in the SOP need to be very carefully drafted and given, because then you can run with anybody. No need to have an expert to run it.
Absolutely, I completely agree with Dr. Sir. The whole idea about having a private cloud, about having HCI is simplicity.
Great. So let's go to the another interesting question. Today is a atmosphere of multi-cloud environment. Okay, on one side you have your infrastructure private cloud here, and for sake of convenience, for sake of better services, you adopt a lot of external clouds also. What kind of orchestration strategy is required in a multi-cloud environment so that this hybrid cloud as a concept will be successful for running the organization and taking it to the next level?
See, the enterprise should look into the thing, what purpose you are trying to do the multi-cloud environment. You want to get an infrastructure scalability, or you want to use an application as a service. Say if the infrastructure as a service, if you wanted to zoom it out into the any other public cloud, and you need to have a different strategy that whenever you need to have a load increases and you wanted to just execute it in the public cloud and come back. For that you need to have an integration which need to work together. First you should work within the private cloud environment seamlessly, assuming that the enterprise cloud, one private cloud talking to another private cloud within the enterprise, that also should be a seamless like an hyper cloud talking to each other. The two different clouds are talking to each other. That orchestration need to be done. If you once you done that one, say normally enterprise host one for the production, another for a DR backup kind of things. No, these two things have to be work as a single cloud, integrating the hyper cloud architecture. See, multiple strategies can be adopted, depends upon the compliance requirement, depends upon the size of the organization and how they wanted to strategize their own business applications and other peripherals application. That is the way the strategies can be done.
Any additional thoughts from your side?
You already have in a traditional environment, you already have multiple 3-tier architectures, server, storage, SAN, virtualizations, cloud, and you have multiple points of control for all these things. We cannot allow this complexity to really roll over into the newest data center. And that's one of the key focus areas for us is how can we help customers in a multi-cloud environment have a single source of truth.
So that takes us to the last question. Now everyone has a wish list on what I would like to see. Okay, as a CIO, definitely running one of the largest or the country's only payment systems in the country, you will also have a wish list so that it can take the businesses to the new height. If I may ask you, what is the wish list that you have as a CIO? What is it that you would put those top 3 things in the wish list as?
So need to have a flexible and a good experience to the internal customers, then securing the data and systems. These are the 3 things which any CIO may be looking while ramping up any infrastructure.
Agility, flexibility, security and experience. Excellent. Any thoughts from your side?
I think I'll add just one point to what Mr. Rajendran has said is an application driven approach. A lot of CIOs have told us they need an application centric approach to security, an application centric approach to networking, to the extent where you could actually auto discover your networks or rather auto discover your applications, and the intercommunications with the applications then automatically defines your security policy. Because at the end of the day, everything that you do from a security standpoint is actually to protect your apps. And if we can actually make the infrastructure app driven and make it intelligent enough to understand that every app needs to be protected, thinking that everyone else is a rogue, we are actually going to solve a lot of problems. We are actually going to address a lot of challenges that CIOs of today are facing.
Interesting. I think with that we will end this conversation on infrastructure next. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.